Hi everybody and welcome back to Dragon Eye Creations. If you're new here, my name is Laurel and I love to create. I create all kinds of things, but this month we are in our month of gnomes and I have challenged myself to see how many gnomes can I show you in 1 month. And today we are on number 9, and for number 9 I have made a witch Doctor Gnome. He turned out pretty cool. I love this guy. He is a little more detailed than some of our other gnomes that we've been making, so there are parts of the video I will go through a little bit fast, but I'll leave some links in the description where you can watch the other videos explaining it a little bit better. So with that, we're going to get right into it because there's a lot to him. So let's get started right now on our Witch Doctor Gnome. Okay, we're going to just start with our polymer clay and we're going to mix some white with some yellow to make an off-white color. And then we're just going to roll it all out and we're going to cut off some pieces, keeping rolling them. And then the end that we cut, we're going to make a little indent right in the top and then just round out those edges. We're just creating some bones here. And just keep kind of smooth it out. We don't want it to be too perfect though. These are bones, they're not completely smooth. And we're gonna make I made about 12 of them. I did end up having a couple left over, but it's always better to have too many. I did make some little scratches in them here and there too. So now I just made a little ball and I'm making eyes. Now we're gonna make our skull. And then we're just gonna push those cheeks in and we're gonna work at just kind of hollowing out those cheeks a little bit. Use my ball tool for this. You can just use your fingers, you can use whatever. And now I'm just making tiny little holes for noses and I'm scratching some teeth in there. And I'm just going to cut away a little bit at the back there, hollowing out those cheeks a little bit more even. And then I'm going to cut away at the back a little bit. I'm just going to create a lip right at the back where we'll say it's broken off, but this is where it's going to sit on the top of our top hat. So we're just going to make a little bit of a lip at the back of the head, hollowing out the cheeks a little bit more again until you get it so it looks kind of skull-like to you. And then we're just going to continue on making some more bones. I made some smaller ones too, so we had some variation. And now I'm going to make the nose. So I did this with the same off-white color and I'm just going to make the little nostrils there now. Smoothing it out. And now we're going to make another skull. This is for the top of our walking stick. I don't know what you'd call it. Is it a scepter? Is it a stick? I'm not sure. But we're just going to make some little eyes there anyway with our ball tool once again. And I'm just going to cut off a little bit at the back because I thought it's a little bit too big. A little too round maybe. Again with our little tool we're going to make some nostrils. And carve a place for I just made the top teeth. And I'm going to make it so it looks like it's broken away at the bottom after that. So we're just going to carve out the top teeth there. And then just cut it off. Fixing your eyes if you've squished them. And then I just took a wooden skewer and I just broke off the little paddle piece at the end and the pointy piece at the other end. So I have a square stick kind of thing. And then I rolled out some brown polymer clay and I'm just going to wrap that all around this stick. I have found this is the easiest way for me to get it covered completely. Just kind of spiral it down. It doesn't have to cover it all completely. And then just start rolling. And now you'll find it'll start to separate. You're just going to squeeze it all together every once in a while. It's going to be all lumpy and bumpy, but that's good. That's what we want. Just kind of roll it around and squeeze it. If there's too much on the ends there, just kind of break it off. And then we're going to take that skull and just put it right on the end of that stick. Make sure it's on there firmly. And then I just made a little bit of cracks right on the top of our skull. And I did it to the other one as well. And then we're gonna bake those all up at 130 degrees for 30 minutes. We are gonna start on our top hat now. So I have some ice cream containers from Dollarama, and I'm just gonna hot glue those together just at the bottoms here. The one I did leave the lid on. It's got just one of those plastic lids. And then we're gonna measure out some material here to cover it with and just cut a strip of that. And then we're just gonna hot glue it all onto this fabric here. Again, this is one of the videos. I will have a link for you. I have a video on how to make top hats. Just press firmly all the way around. Finish it off with a strip of glue. And then we'll cut off the extra and tack down your little bits there. And then we're just going to run some glue right along the inside and fold our edges down. On the end with the lid, we'll trim it off so there's not too much to tack down, and we're still going to just tack it down right inside there, as close to the lid as we can. And then we're going to trace out another container, and we're going to cut out a circle in that same fabric, and then we're just going to create a nice hem all the way around that circle using hot glue. We're going to add that just to the top, covering off that plastic lid. Pressing down firmly. And then we're going to cut out 3 circles this size. This is a big circle that I have just as a lid, and I made a brown one, I made a black one, and I made a foam one. And I glued them all together and then attached the hat to it, cutting out the hole at the bottom. Sorry, that will be in the description. And this, now we're just going to create a strip for the top hat. So I'm just going to use this brown material that I'm folding down the edges for. And we're going to just add that all the way around our top hat. And we're going to just trim that right off. And now we're going to take some black paint, just a dab of it, some brown paint in a bunch of water, and we're going to mix that up so we have like a dark brown wash. And we're going to go over all of our polymer clay pieces now. They are baked and cooled. And we're just going to go over them just to give them that rough look. Go over everything. I did take a little bit of extra black to go right into the holes of the eyes on the skulls, and now I'm also just painting a V shape onto our nose. And now I'm going to cover a pool noodle. This is about 4 inches long. It's the bigger size pool noodles, just from Dollarama. And we're just going to cover that with that same brown fabric again, trimming off the extra, and then tack this all down just into the hole there as much as you can. I did end up cutting it a little short to do that, but it still covered it. And now we're going to start on our legs. For that, I'm using 2 foam rollers from the dollar store, and we're going to cut about a quarter of it off. I'll say a third of it off. You can see. And then we're going to take this wooden skewer, and I'm just going to take those little wooden paddles off again, and we're going to stab those right through our foam rollers. Add a little hot glue on the end to keep them in place. And then we're going to cover our foam rollers in that same brown fabric. I didn't cover it all the way because I knew I wanted to trim a little of it off again. Why I did it this way, I don't even know. It just helped me to think in my head, I guess. I kind of was thinking as I went on this one, so I kind of went back and forth a few times on how I did things. So again, we're just rolling up with hot glue, rolling up our foam rollers. We're going to cut a little bit of that blue off now, just to make them even. And then we're going to stab them right into our pool noodle, all the way through. Those skewers actually do come right out the top even a bit, but that's okay because our top hat is going to cover it, so you can just leave them there. Makes them nice and sturdy. And now for the booties. I took some plastic containers and some Easter eggs is what I'm using for these. with the plastic containers, I filled them about half full of sand and then a whole bunch of hot glue on the top just to seal it in there so it does not come out. And that gives us a nice weighted boot. Shake them down so it's all even. A little more glue right around the edge just to really seal it. And now I'm just going to take, this is just some craft foam that I'm using for the bottom, and a little Easter egg there right on top, and we're just going to hot glue all of that to our craft foam. And then we'll trim around those. Again, this is another video I'll leave a link for. We're going to cover those up with some brown fabric just in the front. Just gluing it down, folding and tacking. And then I took this faux fur, this black faux fur, and I'm just wrapping the top of the boots with this. It is really fluffy, so it's hard to see exactly. It's kind of like a V shape, I guess, and I just wrap that around there. And now we're going to get started on his coat. So for that, again, I just measured out to see that it would be wide enough, and we're just folding in our sides, making them look nice. Okay, we're going to start on his beard. This is a faux fur I'm using for this. Again, it's black. This is the longer than the other fur though. And we're just going to make a V shape, cutting just the backing of the material. We don't want to cut the actual fur itself. So now I'm just going to attach that right to our gnome. I just did cut off a strip right off the top. You'll see I wanted it a little shorter, and I'm going to use that strip after. So we're just going to glue that right to our guy now, right in front there. Make some space for his nose. Little E6000 on his nose there. And we're going to add some hot glue just to help keep it on there quicker, because E6000 takes a while to set. But it is more permanent. I trust the E6000 more than the hot glue. And just press it on firmly. And then I measured to see how long I wanted it on him. And then we're just going to add him right to the middle. That's usually how I line it up. And then we decide to add that strip of hair all the way around the top. Now we're going to start on his sleeves. And I just took a garden foam roller now. These are from your gardening section at Dollarama. And I just cut it in half. And then I remove the foam from both ends so we have wire exposed on both ends. Making sure they're the same length. And then I rolled that up in that same black fabric that we made his coat out of. And we're going to trim off the extra. Hot gluing and rolling. We're going to just take his arms now. We're going to poke those wires right in through the fabric and into the pool noodle. It goes on pretty good, and we're going to just add some E6000 just to make sure, and a little hot glue to hold it on there. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with our other arm. We're going to take that wire that's exposed and just poke it in through there. Adding our E6000. Adding our hot glue and just poke it in. So you'll see that I did put some brown trim on the jacket. Ignore that because I decided I didn't like it anyway. So we are covering it up now with this brown minky fur. I like this better. I'm so happy I did this. So we're just going to make some trim with that and add it to the edges of our coat. And we're going to do that all the way around, just folding in our edges and tacking them in so it looks nice. A little hot glue to help fold it down. And then we'll glue it to the coat. Same thing on the other side. We're just going to take that strip, add it all along there, and trim off the end, hot gluing it And then we're going to do the exact same thing for the middle strip. We're going to have to move his legs out of the way. We're working around him since he's already attached to his coat, unfortunately. Just fold that down and glue it. And then we're going to take our glue and glue another strip all along the top, so it's like a collar on the top of his coat. Wrap that all the way around. And then we're going to take one of those skulls that we made, and we're going to add some E6000 to that and a little hot glue. And we're going to put that right on top of his hat, right in the center. That's where that lip that we created goes in. It works great. And now we're going to take those little bones and we're just going to start putting them all around his hat. Just making variations in the sizes and everything. And then we're just going to add some feathers. I put 3 big ones on the side and then just little ones all the way around. And once they were all the way I liked it, I decided to hot glue everything in. And now I'm just going to take some of those little feathers and I'm going to attach them to our skull as well on the top of our walking stick, staff, whatever we're calling it. And we're going to take some jute rope, and I just separated it so I only had a couple thin strands, or it might even be one strand. It is one strand. And we're just going to wrap that around our stick now, hot gluing it at the bottom, and then just wrap it all the way around. And then once you get to the top, we're going to wrap it right around so there's a few pieces wrapped around tight, and then just hot glue it in again. And that covers up any of those little glued on pieces of feather too. And now right around where we added that fur collar, we're going to add a few feathers just in the front. Just so he's got some feathers sticking out there too, under his hair. It's all about the feathers with this guy. And now for his booties. We're going to just separate that fur if we can, add some more hot glue, and we're going to attach him to his booties. And then we're going to just tack down his coat so it stays nice and that collar stays nice and folded over. I just used that clip to hold his beard back. And now we're going to take some E6000, attach that right to that exposed wire in his hand. And I'm going to attach his polymer clay hands that I've made previously. Again, there will be a link for that as well. And we're going to make some more trim now, just hot gluing the edges and folding them into the center. And we're going to wrap that trim around the edge of his sleeve on both sides, just hot gluing it on there. And cut off your extra. A little more E6000. And then we're going to attach that stick to his hand. And then I just took a white acrylic marker and I just made some dots all the way along that V. Just kind of finished it off, I thought. And then we're going to finish off just the front of his booties with this black ribbon. Just some hot glue right along the bottom and some ribbon just for the front part. Then just trim it off. Well, there he is. Our amazing witch doctor is all done. He looks pretty sharp. I love how he turned out. I wasn't sure about the nose, if I should do it that way. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I have left it? I don't know. But thanks for joining us again, and thanks for watching number 9 of our month of gnomes. Check back soon for more gnome videos. We'll see what new gnomes we can come up with. Thanks again. Until then, love to all.